How do we survive what's going on right now? We've got the iOS change to Facebook, which is it's just crazy to watch trillion-dollar brands declare war on each other and then battle it out like schoolyard children, which is exactly what's happening, by the way. Facebook's taking out full-page ads, like bashing Apple for what they're doing, and Apple's like being petulant and, dropping really weird barbs, which are funny, but it's scary and also frustrating because all of the things that they're doing impact us directly as ad managers, small business owners. So what we need to do is figure out how to contend with this. Now, the big disclaimer is to know that nobody knows what's going to happen. And you know that because the people that should know are letting you know, hey, we don't know what's going to happen. I had the awesome opportunity to talk to John Loomer directly, who's a world authority in Facebook ads, and he was really honest with me. He was like, dude, I have no idea what's going to happen. If you read his articles, he kind of says that. I've got a buddy who runs a Facebook ad agency. They're the highest tier Facebook ad agency you can get. They've got direct points of contact inside of Facebook, a couple of Facebook published case studies. Like, they know as much as anybody, and they're pounding on the door trying to get their POCs to let them know what's going on, and they don't know. I don't think Facebook knows. How could they? This is something that's happening to them. Apple's making these big sweeping changes, which they've delayed twice, incidentally, which is also really kind of weird. That throws sort of a strange mix into the narrative. And Facebook is trying to jump through these hoops. So what's happening for us as ad managers is we're having our visibility limited, right? We got blinders on now. And this isn't just Facebook, it's also Google. Google has FLoC, the Federated Learning of Cohorts, which is doing something really similar. I actually think FLoC is way, way, way worse. People aren't talking about it because Google's so good at rolling things out. Like, hey, by the way, we just changed everything and took away all your data, no big deal. But I think FLoC is going to have longer and further reaching impacts. But it's all happening at the same time. It's the perfect freaking storm. So people are putting blinders up, and you're not able to see everything that's going on, at least not as much as you used to be able to see. So the thing to do is to start to attempt to triangulate in as much as that's possible. So you had one perspective and one point of view, which was just the Facebook ads dashboard. Well, there's a ton of that that's going away. And by the way, if you're not familiar with what the iOS 14 update is doing, like, look into that. It's crazy. The limitation of data is going to be staggering. I would venture to guess, and this is just a guess, but you're going to receive, well, let me back up. The amount of users that you can track will be less than the amount of users you can't track, which historically wasn't true. So you're losing 51% or more of the information that we used to have based solely off of this opt-in. I don't anticipate a bunch of people saying, oh yeah, track me through the interwebs in perpetuity. So you're losing visibility. The thing to do there, in my very soft opinion, is to attempt to triangulate with other vantage points of visibility. So what does that mean? First of all, let's go get some third-party data tools. One that was recommended to me was Wicked Reports. I haven't used it in a long time, but I remember being impressed with it. But at the time, I thought, this is overkill. I can get all this inside the dashboard or through analytics. Well, now you can't. And there could be data points that something like Wicked Reports is capturing that we're not able to see standalone. And obviously, there's still going to be some limitations and lack of visibility. But again, we're trying to fill in the gaps. So, and I'm not a Wicked Reports affiliate, by the way. I even think they're maybe a little more expensive than they're worth, all other things considered. But in this particular instance, if you're relying on data that you're not getting anymore, then go get, and there's a bunch of alternatives. There's one in particular who I won't name because I dislike them very much, and I don't like the way that they approach life. So I'm just going to be, if you can't say something nice, don't say it at all. But so take that and put it on the shelf. The other thing, and really the purpose of this video, is we have to go omni-channel. You have to begin, especially with your remarketing. So if you're a Facebook ads agency or you're somebody running Facebook ads, realize that you're not going to be able to track all of the prospects that you're driving through your Facebook conduit. And what that means is Google Display Network just became the best friend you have ever had. If you're driving traffic that you can't see, but there's another little, sticky little mousetrap over here that we can use to kind of identify who these people are. Even if your visibility is limited, you can at a minimum view engagement metrics that you weren't going to get otherwise. So I'd start, make sure you have Google Analytics installed if you don't already. And if you didn't prior to, that was a catastrophic error. Although I've seen people in the Facebook ecosystem just kind of ignore analytics entirely, which I don't understand. But analytics has to be installed, and then start running remarketing traffic through Google. And honestly, if it makes sense, through other conduits. Like, there's Google and Facebook aren't the only two traffic drivers. They're the best, and they also might be the most adept at, things like actually marketing, capturing an audience. But you want to collect as many vantage points as you possibly can. So you're looking at them through Facebook, you're looking at them through Google, you're looking at them through analytics, you're looking at them through Wicked Reports, AdRoll, Taboola, Outright, whatever, native advertising, whatever it is that you think you can make viable for your business. Don't spend money just for the sake of spending money. But you should have been doing this anyway. And for my Google peeps, us, we should be doing the same thing because we're losing visibility too. So if you weren't already remarketing on Facebook, do it. It's easy. It's easy. If your ads agency does, I don't do that for my clients, but it's pretty easy for me to just say, hey, go set up a remarketing campaign inside of Facebook. It'll take you 4 seconds because there's going to be some limitations from the Google perspective that Facebook will be able to fill in the gaps on. Now is the time for us to cobble together our data. We can't rely on one dashboard solely any longer. Those days are gone. Those days have actually been gone for a long time. But up until this point, there was kind of like a smoke screen that sort of kept us, in just fancy land, thinking that we could actually rely on all this information. But now with all of this, not provided data sets, it's time to begin capturing it with both hands from as many sources as you possibly can. And, one source is going to be able to give you data sets A, B, and C, and another source is going to be able to give you data sets 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to want to start to combine that and get really good at knowing which KPIs to pay attention to, which, by the way, is an art in and of itself, but it's not hard. Once you've figured out, honestly, it's usually 3 data points. Once you've figured out with each individual network, okay, that's the thing that appears to move the needle. And if you've done this before, by the way, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly how there's the noise and then there's a signal in the noise. And as soon as you're able to kind of find it, you're like, all right, that's the thing that I'm going to watch. And, it might change and flux over time, but just give yourself the opportunity, even if you don't know what you're doing, give yourself the opportunity to at least have the data. That way you can bring it to somebody who might know how to interpret it. Because if you're not capturing it at all, then, you're just blind. You're flying blind. And that's what's happening. We are being blindfolded. And so what I'm telling you to do is go put up security cameras everywhere so you can at least watch from different angles, even though your views might be obstructed. That was a weird analogy. I'll think of a better one. So yeah, if you're Facebook dedicated, start running Google remarketing now, right now, today. Because now, all this traffic that you're driving from your Facebook ads to your, whatever your entity is, your funnel, your website, your whatever, you don't have the data coming from Facebook that you used to, but there's a ton of data that Google's going to be able to capture to supplement. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be everything, but it will supplement. And don't be lazy about setting up your remarketing campaigns either. Track conversions, drop in your conversion events. And Facebook people have really bad habits. I don't mind saying, I'm not trying to, start a bloody nerd war. But the Facebook ad, and honestly, it's probably to their credit, Facebook ad managers tend to be more nimble. These are the forefront hacker, figure it out, affiliate marketer, just they like to move fast. It's move fast and break things, right? That's Facebook's whole model. Well, when they're moving fast, they're also breaking a bunch of rules. They're not setting up the foundation of the infrastructure that they would need in certain instances. And so, set up your conversion tracking, set up set up your goals and analytics, set up the things that you would need in order to actually make use of this data, and then use that to fill in the gaps. And that's how we're going to survive. And by the way, y'all, the fallout here is going to be nuts. And it's going to be worse for the people that aren't paying attention at all. Because there's a bunch of people who are like, oh yeah, Facebook makes changes all the time. We'll be fine. We'll just rely on the machine learning. We'll be fine. And that's just not true at all. There's so much. And if you don't believe me, go look at people that know what they're doing. Look at some of the Facebook ad managers and just the shell shock. It's like in 2014, it's Google's not provided provision all over again. It's, oh, hey, by the way, remember all that data that you actually built a business around? We're not going to give that to you anymore. It's what just happened. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. Anyway, hope this was helpful. Like, comment, subscribe, all this stuff. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.